Hey, welcome. So my name is Bartek. I'll go over several long division of integer numbers here. So on the left-hand side, you see about 5 questions. There are single-digit division, double-digit division, and then a triple-digit division. So let's see how we go over the long division if for some reason you would not be able to use a calculator at some point. So let's review this concept. I'll start with the first example. We have 8 that we want to divide into 1944. So whenever we divide, we will take our, in this case, single digit number, and we will try to see how many times it will fit into the digits which appeared on the right hand side the way that it's written. Now 8 doesn't go into 1, so technically you can write a 0 here. However, most of the time when we have that, we will just simply carry on and then take the double digits. Okay, as soon as we notice that the 8 doesn't go into 1, we will try how many times 8 goes into 19. And you're going to have to remember your multiplication tables. And now here we know that 8 goes into 19 a maximum of 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. So when we now subtract, and the reason why we actually subtract is because we want to know the remainder from the 19 that we haven't used yet. Well, if we do the subtraction, we'll get 3. And now we have to bring down our next digit of 4, and we play the same game. So we ask how many times will 8 go into 34. So now the maximum amount of times is 4. And now 4 times 8 is 32, which we will write underneath. And again, we want to subtract because we want to see the remainder left over from 34, which in this case would be 2. Finally, now you will bring down the last 4 and ask how many times does 8 go into 24. Well, it goes in 3 times, and 8 times 3 is 24, and therefore when we subtract, now we will not have any remainder. So our remainder is 0, and this is where we finish the question. Now, as I mentioned, you do not have to write the 0, because 0243 is still 243. So that is left up to you. But the answer to this question is 243, meaning that 8 will go into 1944 243 times. That's the first question, this one. Okay, so let's now try the second question. Let me just erase this for us so we can start fresh. Now we have negative 8,848 divided by 7. So because we have a negative and we're dividing by a positive, the answer will be negative here. And we're going to have to keep that in mind at the end. But in terms of the division, the actual negative does nothing for us. We don't even need to write it. We just have to remember that our answer will be negative. So we have 8,848, and now we can go ahead and proceed with the actual division. So I will start and see, okay, 7 into 8 actually does go. It goes 1 time. So 1 times 7 is 7. And now when I subtract, so my remainder becomes 1. I bring down the 8. And I ask again, how many times does 7 go into 18? Well, the maximum amount of times is 2. And 2 times 7 is 14. Okay, now we can subtract. And the subtraction gives us a remainder of 4. And we can now bring down the other 4 and ask again. 7 into 44, in this case, goes a maximum of 6 times. 6 times 7 is 42. So we will subtract and get a remainder of 2. So 4 minus 2 is 2. And then we can bring down our 8. And finally, 7 into 28 goes in 4 times. And 4 times 7 is exactly 28. We can subtract and we'll get our 0 remainder. Once your remainder is 0, you are finished. And please keep in mind that I did say this is a long division of integers. So our answers will be integers. Okay, so don't forget we have our answer, which must be negative. Okay, so we would have to write that in. And that's it. That would be the second question. Now let's take a look what happens with double digits. The process is identical. It just becomes a lot more annoying because it's not as easy to see how many times a double digit goes into the others. So let's try question 3. So I'll erase this off the screen here. And let's write down. Notice that we have a negative divided by a negative. So our answer will be positive. And now I will take, so 14. And how many times does 14 go into 1, 7, 6, 4? Let's begin. 14 goes into 17 just one time. So that is rather simple to see. 1 times 14 is 14. We can subtract, and this becomes 3 as a remainder, so 7 minus 4. Let's bring down our next digit, which is 6. And now how many 14s go into 36? And now you're just guessing. So some people might see it right away, and others may not. Okay, so here, 14, well, it will actually go in a maximum of 2 times. So I will put a 2. So 2 times 14 is 28. And if worse comes to worse, if you can't see that, just do it on the side for yourself. Now we have to subtract. Now we have 6 minus 8. I can't do, so I will have to take away from here. So this becomes 16. I took 1 away. 16 minus 8 is 8. And 2 minus 2 is 0. So I just have a remainder of 8. Now let's bring down the 4. And now the question, how many times does 14 go into 84? Again, this might be harder for some people. So we are going to do a little bit of guessing. Now, I know that in the previous one, 2 times 14 was 28. Okay, so if I would have twice as much, okay, so that would be 56. because 28 times 2, okay, so that comes out to 56. So that's already 4 14ths, right? Now we needed to go into 84. And now we can try. So it's definitely going to be more than 4. If I do 5, I can add 14 here. So this will be actually 80 that we have. And now what happens here? Well, so we have, sorry, I apologize here, we have not 80, but we have 70. So as you can see, we all make mistakes. So that means we have now tried 5 of them, and we have 70 here. Let's erase this and put it back. Okay, so when we're adding it up, well, we want 84, so we can actually still squeeze out one more 14, which will be 84, and this means that it's 6. Notice this process. Now, I actually could see that it was 6, but I know that for any student who's doing it, especially if you haven't done it for a while, you're actually going to be probably doing something like this in your head. So don't feel bad, okay, if you're doing that. It just comes with experience. If you can see it right off, fantastic. But if you can't, you know, you will see yourself spending a bit of time to trying to see how many times it goes in. And you are literally guessing. Your guesses just get better with more experience. So we've just seen that 6 times 14 is 84. And that will give us a 0 remainder. And that's our answer. All right, let's take a look at question number 4, okay, which again is a little bit harder. So I will erase this here. And let's take a look at the next question. So we have done 3. Let's take a look at 4. Notice that it's a positive divided by a negative. So our answer will be negative. Let's write it all out. So 26 goes into, and now 3302. Okay, so let's begin. So 26 into 33, well, that one is the simplest one to see. It goes in once in this case. So 1 times 26. We can subtract to get a remainder. Now again, 3 minus 6. So I have to take away. This will be 13 there. And 13 minus 6 that I have is 7, and 2 minus 2 is 0. So let's bring down this right here. Now, how many times does 26 go into 70? Well, 2 times 26, so meaning 26 plus 26 will be 52. And 2 will be the maximum, because if it's 52, notice from 52 to 70, it's only 18. So the maximum I can fit here is 2. And again, so just for your reference, you can do it on the side for yourself. You don't have to do everything in your head. And always just be patient. You don't have to hurry. And now, so for this, so if I subtract, I actually already said that the subtraction is 18. And again, so here, this would be, so 10 minus the 2 is 8, and then 6 minus 5 is 1. And now we can bring down our last 2 here. And now again, we're going to have to try to guess. Okay, so, well, 26 is about 25. And now, so if I count by 25s, so we have 25 plus 25 is 50. And then plus 25 is 75. Plus 25 is 100. So 4 25s is 100. And then it goes 125, that's 5. 150 is 6. And 175 is 7. So let's take a look and see. Will 7 work here? 7, okay, so you can do that on the side here. Let's see just how many times. So 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 2, 14, plus the 4, and it is actually 182 exactly. And that would be, so subtract, we have no remainder. This is our answer, except it's negative. So this is what we would have. Okay, so that is question number 4 that you see. Let's take a look at question number 5, which is your last one. So I'll erase this. And our last question here, so it's triple digit. We have 123 goes into, so much bigger number, 593,844. Okay, so it's triple digit, it's 3 digits, so let's start with 3 digits. How many times will 123 go into 593? Okay, so we're just guessing. Well, I'm just going to kind of estimate approximately 100. Now, 100 into about 500 or 600 will go about 5 times. So I can try that. But for this case, what I will actually do is I will guess wrong and show you what happens if you guess wrong. Let's assume that I guessed that it's 4 times. And now on the side here, okay, I am going to write this out. So 4 times 3, so that's 12, carry my 1. 4 times 2 is 8, and then plus the 1, and 4 times 1. So I have 492 here for this one. Okay, so let's just double check, make sure that it's okay. So 4 times 3 is 12, carry the 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus the 1, and that. Okay, so this is what we have here. And so I'll subtract. So minus 3 minus 2 is 1. This is 0 and 1. So actually 4 was correct. So originally when I was thinking 5, I would have been wrong. Okay, because now we have a remainder of 101, and clearly 123 does not go into 101. So that was our remainder. Okay, so let's carry on with that and see now what happens after. So I have to now bring down the 8 which now becomes a huge problem because I have 123 and I'm trying to see how many times it goes into 1018. Okay, well, about 100 goes into 1,000, okay, about 10 times. Okay, now because of the 23, I'm going to make the assumption, okay, that it goes 9 times. Okay, so, and let's try and see what happens with 9. So I am literally guessing. That's what I am doing right now. Just my guesses might be a little bit better because I've done this a few times. So for yourself, you may also be guessing here. So 123 times 9, and let's hope that we guessed correctly. 9 times 3 is 27. So carry my 2. 9 times 2, 18, plus the 2, so that's 20. And 9 times 1 is 9, plus the 2 is 11. So, so take a look what happens here. We have 1018, and if I use 9, I have 1107, which is bigger. So I've guessed too high. So that's what happens. I've guessed actually too high. 123 will not go into 1018 9 times. And this is good because, as you see, I have done quite a few long divisions and I've guessed incorrectly. So now what happens? Well, you're stuck and you basically notice that you've guessed too high. So I will say it's not 9. Okay, I will now try 8, which is 1 less. And we have to do exactly the same thing. And yes, it is painful to do that. But that's just part of the game that you're playing with long division. So 8 times 3 is 24. Carry the 2. 8 times 2 is 16. Plus the 2 is 18. Carry the 1. And now 8 times 1 plus the 1 is 984. Okay, now it is less. So here, we'll subtract and we'll see what has been left over. Use a different color so that we can see it. So 8 minus 4 is 4. 1 minus 8, so I can't do that. So this will change into a 9. Okay, so I'm borrowing a 1 from the 10. So this will be 11. 11 minus 8 is 3. And then 9 minus 9, okay, is 0. So 34 is my remainder. Okay, let's continue playing the game. Let's bring down 4. So this luckily is going to be a little easier because it's not as big as 1018. Okay, so how many times does 123 go into 344? Well, it goes at least 2, I can see, because that's going to be about 240, give or take. Now, 3 times, well, if it's 240 already, so 3 is going to be a little too high. So I'm just going to guess 2. And let's see what happens. I'll do it here on the left-hand side. So 2 times 3, 2 times 2, that's 246. Well, let's subtract. So it is less, but hopefully it's not, it's going to give us, it should give us a remainder which is smaller than 123. Okay, so 4 minus 6, so I can't do that. But I can do 14 minus 6, so that's 8. Okay, now I'm stuck again. 3 minus 4, to change this. So 13 minus So that's that, and 2 minus 2. Okay, perfect. So notice that now 98 is less than 123. So we guessed 2 correctly. And now we finally can bring our last 4. And it's 984. Oh, and look at that. Actually, so I've noticed we already did this. Okay, for the orange 8 there. So 8 times 123 is actually 984, which is what we have. So our last answer is going to be 8. So 8 goes into, 8 times 123. So we subtract, and we're done. And that's our answer, 4,828. So you can review this, I guess, as many times as you like, and see how it helps you to try to do the long divisions. You have basically 5 different types of examples that you can practice. Okay, so thank you for watching, everyone. Okay, cheers. Take care. Bye-bye.